Breaking news. Cameroon Anglophone crisis, the Church follows the part of neutrality amidst attacks and possible civil war. When Church-brokered peace talks in Cameroon were postponed in August, it testified to the worsening plight of the West African country, where English-speaking separatists have been fighting French-speaking government forces. In a statement, the talks' chief sponsor, Cardinal Christian Toomey of Douala, pledged he and his Muslim and Protestant partners would go on seeking a solution as politically neutral servants of God. But while people of all political leanings had backed the peace initiative, Toomey added, voices of skepticism, doubt, and hostility had also shown more time was needed. Even if the talks at Biya go ahead in November, those in charge will face a hard task. Cameroon's president, Paul Biya, now 85, is seeking re-election this October for a seventh consecutive term on a hard-line, anti-separatist ticket. In a single week of late July, 2 Catholic priests were killed in what local media said were acts of retaliation against the Church's stand on human rights abuses, while in May shots were fired at the residence of Archbishop Samuel Kleta, the Bishops' Conference president. With similar resistance now facing Church mediation attempts in other neighboring countries, it's unclear whether well-intended gestures like Toomey's can expect success. The Catholic Church is respected enough here for its initiatives to have some impact, especially when they involve other faiths too, Francis Agemain, an expert on staff of the journal Du Cameroun Daily, explained to NCR. But not everyone has welcomed this attempt to resolve our crisis, and some members of the ruling party are doing everything to prevent it. Army units have been deployed since 2016 in Cameroon's English-speaking southwest and northwest regions, where separatists declared an independent state, Ambazonia, last October on the anniversary of their brief independence from Britain in 1961. English-speaking officials, whose territory accounts for a fifth of Cameroon's population of 25 million, had long protested against the imposition of French in local courts, schools and administrative centers, and demanded a return to the federal system which operated until 1972. Separatist groups have agreed to mediation, but Biya's government has rejected this, opting instead for a show of force. This has alarmed the Catholic Church, whose 5 archdioceses, 4 French and 1 mostly English-speaking, claim the spiritual loyalty of a third of Cameroon's inhabitants, with Protestants and Muslims each making up around a quarter. In the past, church leaders have opposed any talk of partition. But in a television interview last April, Kleta conceded that mass poverty and unemployment were fueling discontent, and urged measures of decentralization, such as the election of regional presidents to allow people to think about their future. Peace through armed force is never a true peace, the 59-year-old archbishop added. Since we're all in the same country and all brothers, our message is to stop the violence immediately at all costs, without vengeance, and to accept others who don't think like us. In May, as accusations of human rights abuses and summary executions mounted against government troops, Kleta and his fellow bishops sent out a cry of distress for Pentecost, quoting Exodus 3:7, I have seen the afflictions of my people. The northwest and southwest regions have been passing through difficult times, marked by inhuman, blind, monstrous violence and a radicalization of positions, the Bishops' Conference appeal noted. Mediation is now more urgent in order to come out of this crisis. Please, spare our country, Cameroon, from a useless and senseless civil war. Terrorism targets church in entire region. English-speaking separatism isn't Cameroon's only security challenge. Islamist insurgents from Boko Haram, based in neighboring Nigeria, have targeted Catholic clergy and killed hundreds of police, troops, and civilians in the country's extreme north province since allying with Islamic State in 2015. Human rights groups, including Amnesty International, have warned the English-speaking versus French-speaking crisis could soon escalate, and have condemned atrocities by both sides. So have church organizations such as Vatican-based Caritas Internationalis, which warned this summer that at least 172,000 people had now been forced to flee the country, adding that whether a person speaks English or French has become a reason to kill. The report quoted refugees who'd crossed into Nigeria in panic, describing running battles between soldiers and pro-independence fighters, whole villages emptied and civilians shot on the roadside. The brutality of the separatists, who've killed over 100 members of